Be my husband for 9 months, the billionaire heiress mocked, until the single dad reply froze her. The room went silent the moment the laughter curdled into something sharper, something crueler, and every crystal chandelier seemed to hold its breath as a single sentence changed the direction of several lives. In a penthouse high above the city, surrounded by wealth that glittered without warmth, a billionaire heiress had just made a careless offer meant as a joke, and a tired single father had just answered it with a truth so heavy it cracked the air between them. What began as mockery was about to become a test of character, dignity, and love that no one in that room was prepared for. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a second to pause. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet power of ordinary people doing the right thing, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel to support stories that remind us what really matters. Eleanor Vale had been born into money so vast it felt fictional even to those who lived near it. Her childhood photos were framed in gold, her education stitched together from the world's best schools, and her future mapped by boards of directors before she was old enough to vote. Yet for all the privilege, one thing had slipped beyond her control. A clause in her late grandfather's will required her to be married and expecting a child within the year to retain full control of the Vale Foundation, the charitable empire that bore the family name. To Eleanor, it felt archaic and insulting, a final manipulation from a man who believed legacy mattered more than happiness. At a charity gala meant to honor that very foundation, the pressure finally boiled over. The joke came easily, lubricated by champagne and applause. Eleanor, frustrated by the whispers and pointed looks of board members, laughed and declared that she might as well hire a husband for 9 months, just long enough to satisfy the paperwork. The room erupted in indulgent laughter, the kind reserved for the powerful when they say something outrageous. Her words landed like a game, a spectacle, until her eyes drifted to the edge of the room where Daniel Harper stood holding a half-empty plate and the weight of a very different life. Daniel was not meant to be there. He had been invited as a catering supervisor, filling in for a sick colleague, a man more comfortable packing school lunches at dawn than navigating silk gowns and polished egos. At 38, he carried exhaustion in his shoulders and tenderness in his eyes, shaped by years of raising his daughter alone after losing his wife to a sudden illness. Every decision he made was measured against bedtime stories, doctor visits, and the promise he had made at a graveside never to let his child feel abandoned again. When Eleanor's gaze met his, something in her expression shifted, not with interest but with curiosity edged by entitlement. She repeated the idea, louder this time, gesturing vaguely toward him as if he were part of the decor. The laughter thinned, uncertain now, waiting for the man to either bow or disappear. Instead, Daniel straightened. He did not raise his voice or clench his fists. He simply spoke from a place so grounded it unsettled everyone who heard it. He explained that marriage was not a costume to be worn for convenience, nor was a child a condition to be negotiated. He spoke of vows said in hospital rooms, of nights spent learning how to braid hair with one hand while holding grief in the other, of promises kept when no one was watching. His reply was not angry, it was honest. And it froze Eleanor where she stood, her carefully constructed armor cracking under the weight of a reality she had never needed to consider. In the days that followed, the moment replayed endlessly in Eleanor's mind. For the first time, she felt shame not as a social risk but as a moral reckoning. She sought Daniel out, not with lawyers or contracts, but with an apology that trembled despite her confidence. She learned about his daughter, Lily, about the small apartment filled with handmade drawings and second-hand furniture, about the way love had shaped him into someone quietly unbreakable. What began as an attempt to fix a mistake slowly became something else entirely. The arrangement they eventually discussed was nothing like the joke that had started it. It was careful, bound by respect and boundaries, rooted in shared purpose rather than convenience. Eleanor needed time and credibility to protect the foundation from being swallowed by men who saw charity as branding. Daniel needed stability and health care for Lily, whose heart condition required monitoring he could barely afford. They agreed to walk forward together, not as a performance, but as partners navigating a strange and fragile path. Living under the same roof stripped away illusion. Eleanor learned to wake up early, to pack lunches, to sit on the floor during homework and listen rather than command. Daniel learned that wealth did not erase loneliness, that Eleanor's sharp edges hid a lifetime of being valued more for her surname than her soul. The city watched, skeptical and hungry for scandal, but inside those walls something rare took root. Trust grew slowly, watered by shared routines and unspoken understanding. As the months passed, Eleanor faced the board with a new steadiness, defending the foundation with a conviction born not of inheritance but of experience. Daniel watched Lily laugh more freely, her world expanding with the presence of someone who chose to stay not because she had to, but because she wanted to. The deadline loomed, but fear no longer defined it. Whatever happened next, both of them had already changed. If this story is touching something in you right now, if it reminds you of the strength found in humility and the beauty of unexpected connections, please take a moment to engage with the video. Your likes, shares, and comments help these stories reach others who might need them. When the final meeting arrived, Eleanor stood not as an heiress cornered by a will, but as a woman who understood the weight of her choices. She spoke of redefining legacy not as control, but as care. She spoke of family not as bloodlines, but as commitment. And as she did, Daniel sat beside her, not as a hired solution, but as a man who had reminded her what dignity looked like. Just before the ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment below with one word that describes what this story made you feel, because your voice matters here. The 9 months ended, but the story did not. Some arrangements end quietly, leaving gratitude in their wake. Others transform into something lasting. This one left the audience believing that sometimes the richest inheritance is learning how to love with honesty, and sometimes the bravest reply is the one that speaks from the heart when the whole room expects silence.